Legal space in India is one of the top choices by students once they pass out of school. It offers them exciting prospects, albeit in a sluggish judicial system. But that isn't stopping them. In today's show, we look at how startups are disrupting this very space and creating their own niche in the field of law. The tech startup space in India is racing ahead. With more and more investments pouring in, tech innovators stepping up, and a conducive environment for entrepreneurs themselves, there probably has never been a better time to start up in the country. But every budding and early stage entrepreneur has that one big hurdle that they cannot get around about on their own. All things related to legal matters.
As any entrepreneur will tell you, like initially the tendency is that, let's try to do by ourselves. There are so many agreements available out in the market. Let's just try to make a few minimal changes here and there and just start using the templated documents. But, one of the incidents which happened was we were trying to partner with a big company actually, and we sent out our agreement, whatever we had drafted, and, they made us realize that, that this is not really the kind of agreement which they would be actually, willing to sign.
Piyush Agarwal would definitely identify with the legal jargon that most startup founders have to struggle with. An IIT graduate, he is the co-founder of edutech startup Superprofs. With multiple rounds of funding received since it began in 2010, the startup currently has a team size of over 45 persons. Needless to say, they had the legal requirements that any growing organization would face.
First thing started with the requirement around the compliances which are required on a monthly basis for any company. But then that requirement actually had grown into things like, for example, drafting of the ESOP policy. Because as we started hiring more and more senior people, we wanted to incentivize them by providing them stock options, and it was necessary for us to have a proper policy in place actually. So we approached to Novojuris, and they were really kind enough to help us out with that thing. And ESOP was one thing, then compliances was another thing. Then came the phase of all the legal agreements and all, because till then as a small startup we were not really very careful about things like that. But very soon we realized that just to save ourselves and to have more clarity with our vendors, with our partners, we need to have proper legal documentation done actually.
After 2 years of trying to make things work on their own, they decided to seek the help of law professionals. The law firm he chose? Bangalore-based Novojuris.
I was with corporates for almost about 11 years prior to starting Novojuris. And it's been cross-border transactions, divestments, global acquisitions, selling and buying brands, a lot of selling and buying of companies. I learned that art while I was with Manipal Group. And having done all of that, I have also done an IPO with Puravankara project. So having done all of that, it was this rush of working with the early stage company and scaling them really rapid, seeing them scale rapid and growing with them. And the sheer joy of seeing a global organization emerge from India. And that's the reason why I felt I must focus on startup.
A startup themselves, Novojuris is a law firm that has worked with many startups in India by helping them set up and scale up, legally speaking. In fact, the firm seldom takes on corporate clients because of their clear focus on startup. Sharda Balaji felt the pull towards this particular space owing to the immense need from startup founders who were tech proficient but novices when it came to legal side of things.
Most of them equate startups is equal to incorporation a company, and that's so wrong. Startups need a whole lot of expert help. It's like laying a foundation for the building, and you've got to get the foundation right. And these are various. It could be inbound, outbound structuring to FDI, ODI, liberalized remittance scheme, and the big vision that most founders are emboldened now. So they start up using the liberalized remittance scheme. They start up businesses in the US, and they're going global. And the world is their market now.
Most startups, for their part, are preferring law firms who focus on startups for two reasons. One of these is because of the scale of business they offer the firms.
The kind of requirements which startups have are very different from typically big corporates or big companies would typically have. And startup lawyers they understand the challenges these startups face actually, and they can actually fine tune or customize their services according to that. And oftentimes we have tried or we have seen other people trying to work around with standard lawyer firms or law firms actually, but it really doesn't work out because for them it's too small. I mean, the startups are too small, so they don't really take you so seriously without realizing that these small companies are going to be becoming quite big actually.
The other reason why startups prefer law firms who focus on them is due to the budget constraint. Most legal firms recognize that startups work on low budgets, but cater to them with tailored plans.
Sometimes it's about biting the bullet and saying that I'm going to accumulate good karma, but that doesn't mean a great business model. But I think there has to be that paying forward as well. Most startups, if you can do it as a package of certain things that they need and give it to them in bite size that they can take when they need, it kind of helps. It could be what do they need over the next 3 months, could be a package. Or when there is an investment deal, then what is it, pre-investment, the investment, the conditions precedent, and what needs to complete the entire deal, could be a package. So that's how we kind of make it as a bite-sized, right for that occasion, and that works with most startups.
Nova Juris isn't the only one in this space. More and more lawyers themselves are looking to start up for the immense untapped potential that this space holds. While it's still in its nascent stage in India, with a handful of tech startups in the legal services industry, the US is a good example of the kind of potential that exists. There are over 700 startups related to the legal space in the US with over 1,000 investors. Most of these startups, however, are tech companies with a B2B focus as opposed to services to consumers, a space that is by and large untapped in India.
Are they starting something as a startup beyond law? There are some who are starting. I like Akosha, what Ankur is doing. There are some who are starting off as a product, etc. And I think our area is pretty virgin area, if I may call. There's a lot of tech disruption that can happen.
One such startup is Legal XGen, founded by Ashish Tripathi and his friend.
And, we are also like partners of Microsoft. So in fact, lots of things being a startup.
The goal of their startup to help automate workflow at law firms.
At this moment, there is huge amount of data law firms are having. Since India has become a prominent center, we are getting business from outside as well. So right from the inquiry management, we start tracking the things. So we do have mechanism to follow up the inquiry and convert that inquiry into a business. And next thing, like once inquiry is matured and you have converted it into a business for you, so you need to do lots of things. Like it starts with assigning the associate and managing the basic information on any case. And then like time tracking is one of the very crucial. Most of the law firms bill on time.
Ashish is no lawyer himself and he has little knowledge in the space. However, he did collaborate with lawyer Sharda to help build the solution. According to him, it will take more collaboration between technologists and lawyers to disrupt this space in India.
8 years back, there were 3 prominent sectors. So it was called telecom, then healthcare, and then banking. Well, banking, telecom and healthcare, these were the prominent sector. People say like most of the software engineer work for that. But now the turn is for legal industry. It's really surprising, like at this moment not much people in India are touching this, but now the phase has come. Now we should start looking for technology. And second reason is like one major thing missing in India, like collaboration system. So technology is nothing but a tool to express and to solve the challenges of any business. Technology simply solves business problem, helps any business issues. So that kind of collaboration, like Sharda ma'am helped me, and even my other clients also helped me to understand that domain. So that way, like if collaboration systems are there, and then we as a technical person are able to build nice systems for India.
So that is the scenario when it comes to legal startups in Bangalore. And is it the same case when it comes to Mumbai? We'll find out after this short break.